So Andrew Wilson takes on a woke Twitch liberal, or should I say communist. And she admits before she's a communist in this fiery debate about history, religion, and the role of the Constitution. Now, in this particular clip, you're going to see Andrew Wilson actually dismantle the claim from this woke Twitch liberal that America was founded as a secular nation by exposing the truth about the First Amendment itself, the 10th Amendment, as well as the historical context of state religions. Now, as you're all going to see, Andrew Wilson points out the secularism and practice didn't really mean what today's liberals thinks it does. And he also breaks down for this woke Twitch liberal how the founding fathers viewed religion, freedom, and government authority. So here's Andrew Wilson humbling this woke Twitch liberal, and he definitely dropped some truth bombs. Let's go ahead and get right into it. Also, before we begin, I want to apologize in advance. There is a particular delay with the audio in this particular clip. Just give you all a heads up. So let's go ahead and get right into it.
Is there a Church of England by chance?
There is.
Oh, and what is that? Anglican?
Yeah.
Are you persecuted for not being Anglican?
You were at one point, yes. You were.
Are you right now?
But now it is secular.
So no, it's not secular.
They have a separation of church and state.
Okay. Do you understand that you saying that there's a separation of church and state doesn't mean that secularists brought us that? That Christians can have state churches and still allow you the free exercise of worship? Do you understand that these are not claimed? When you make these claims, secularists are the reason that you can worship right now. No, in fact, that's not the case. The very first secularist nation that I'm aware of was the Soviet Union. The Soviet Union, hang on, stop. The very first, your ancestors had to flee. The very first, yeah, okay, great. They had to flee, man. Everyone had to flee at some point, man. But anyway, the very first secular state I can think of was the Soviet Union. And the Soviet Union did away with Christianity by killing them. That's what they did. The Tsar of Russia, who they went in and was an Orthodox Christian. They killed them all. That's what the Bolsheviks did. They killed them. Bolshevik atheists, everybody. They weren't peaceful.
The first secular state was the United States of America.
No, it wasn't a secular state. No.
It was.
No, it wasn't.
That is in our Constitution, isn't it?
No, it's not in our Constitution. The First Amendment says that the Congress cannot make an establishment of religion which favors one over the other. That is not a secular state. At all.
Yeah, that is a secular state.
No, it's not a secular state.
That is a separation of church and state.
Our original,
lady,
all of our original states had state religions, all of them, post the First Amendment. Post the First Amendment, the 10th Amendment allowed for states to have their own state religion. You are totally wrong.
Not our country. That's a different.
Bro,
that is not
every
nation.
single.
Our nation was a secular nation.
No, how can it be a secular nation where individual states can have their own state religion? How's that a secular nation?
Well, that is, a difference between federal and state powers.
Yeah, so then it's not a secular nation. That's just made up tripe.
No, we had a secular nation.
No, that's not a secular nation, man.
We don't have an official religion, and there's a separation.
You don't need to have an official religion at the federal level for you to have it at the state level. No.
I'm still trying to figure out, like, the things that she's saying right now. I'm trying to figure out where did they get this information, the different liberals, people of the Democrat Party or even far left and stuff, saying this stuff, that this nation wasn't found on like Christian beliefs as well as the religion itself. Okay, the fact of the matter, it was. Okay, I'm not sure where they got this information from, that it was found on secular, principles and stuff. But the fact of the matter is that, it was founded on Christian ideals, because George Washington himself actually stated that as God-given authority and everything. And the fact of the matter is that it definitely was, because though some of these political leaders in the First Continental Congress, they were worshipers. Okay, some of them might have also been religious leaders themselves. I mean, well, I'll admit I can't really, they probably were or they weren't. I mean, I can't really state that verbatim, but the fact of the matter is that these things were also included in these historical documents, including, legal documents as well. Even like whenever they're writing different documents, like referring to the year of our Lord and so on and so forth. And the fact of the matter is that these ideals are also founded on biblical principles too. It's something that this particular communist is failing to actually understand. And honestly, Andrew Wilson did really teach me something new. I didn't know that, the far Eastern European nations like the Soviet Union at the time actually did away with Christianity in their countries and stuff. And the fact of the matter is that, these different Protestant denominations did make a comeback in that particular country, as well as the fact that, I mean, in a sense, if you think about it biblically, yes, it was, kind of founded, on a secular viewpoint, but they didn't really have the creed and everything from the particular denominations where these religious leaders were a part of and stuff. So, yeah, these were basically founded like not in the basis of Catholicism or like even the Church of England and stuff. There's just, but they were definitely Christian, ideals and viewpoints as well as, that were helped to find this nation.
There's not, man.
You can't argue.
Show me in the Constitution anywhere where it says there's a separation between church and state. Anywhere.
The First Amendment prevents Congress from creating or establishing a religion.
So, I'm sorry, where does it say anything about separation of church and state?
Dude, it is literally like the First Amendment. Like, I don't.
The First Amendment literally doesn't say that. It literally doesn't. Literally. Quite literally. It literally doesn't quite literally say that at all.
I mean, I guess if you can't, like, read.
No, I can read. Can you read me the word church? Can you read me the word church? Can you read me any of that? What context clues? Do you understand that if it is the case that all of our states could have state religions and the federal government couldn't interfere in the establishment with states making state religions, this wasn't a secular nation. Do you understand that? All that is saying is that Congress can't go to the states and tell the states which religion they have to follow. That's it. That's all it's saying.
Precisely.
That's not a secular nation. What are you talking about? That's not a secular nation.
We have a secular nation, man. Yeah.
A secular nation would be saying that I don't know, the Constitution prevents religion, or religion can't have an establishment of authority, or there can't be states.
Someone brought up a quote here from President John Adams: "As the government of the United States of America is not in any sense founded on the Christian religion."
That's nice.
John Adams, government of the United States.
You know, there was way more founders than John Adams, right?
Of course, yeah. But I mean, Thomas Jefferson in the letter to the Danbury Baptist reiterates that religion is a matter which lies solely between man and his God, that he owes account to none other for his faith or his worship. The legitimate powers of government reach actions only, not opinions.
Yeah.
I contemplate with solemn reverence that act of the whole American people which declare that the legislature should make no law respecting the establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof.
And when was Thomas Jefferson president?
He was the third.
Okay, and what years were those?
Let me do the math. I think George Washington had 3 terms. So.
And when did it? Well, what was the year on the letter? How about that?
1776.
What was the year on the letter?
Danbury Baptist.
Yeah. What year?
(1802).
Oh, 1802. So this was long after the Constitution was established. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's wait. That's really wait a second. That's really weird.
As Americans, we are.
Wait, that's really weird.
Separation of church
so
and
Thomas
state.
Jefferson, who was going state to state because he wanted a stronger federal body, so he was trying to get states to eliminate state religions, which they were allowed to have under the federal Constitution. You're going to read his letter after the ratification of the Constitution in 1802, as though that's evidence of a secular nation. Brilliant argument.
I don't think Enemy Charlie here actually understands the definition of secular. You see, secular actually refers to, basically, just to make a long story short, like the absence of God. Okay. The absence of God. Okay. So it's just basically just not not subject to or bound by like religion, any religion rule and stuff, or not belonging to or living in uh monotheistic society or other order. Okay, so basically, that's definitely without God. Okay, and the fact of the matter is, there was, and people use this argument to justify, other religions should exist as well. I mean, Andrew Wilson basically clearly showed it to her. He didn't have to look up anything. He just basically went off the dome to explain to this young lady, this communist, what it actually, like, this state was not founded on secularism. So Andrew Wilson definitely silenced her on that part. And it's the simple fact of the matter is, like Andrew Wilson said, that the federal government can't intrude on state religion. That's a part of the first religion, because the First Amendment, because religion is a part of freedom of religious expression. Okay, simple as that. And now correct me if I'm wrong in the comments below, by the way, because I myself don't really like have the perfect knowledge on this. I'm still relearning this stuff myself, to be honest with you. But definitely, the freedom of religion is a part of the First Amendment, and it's also declared in the 10th Amendment as well, about not intruding on the states' rights and stuff, including religion itself. And when they say religion, it's referring to like denominations within the Christian denomination, Christendom, because the simple fact of the matter is they don't want to worship in the denomination that England was a part of as well, and any of those denominations too.
We absolutely have this. It's in the let me see, what is
we
it
absolutely
saying?
Don't have this. Read the 10th Amendment.
The 10th Amendment.
Yeah, read the 10th Amendment.
Reinforce the principle of federalism by saying that any power is not delegated to the federal government nor are reserved to the states of listeners, and those federal power only those explicitly belong to the Constitution. So yeah, as a nation, yeah, sure, certainly states could have their own individual.
So what the First Amendment is saying,
which they no longer do.
So what the first, but they could and can. But what the First Amendment actually says then is that Congress is not able to establish a law because. Right? They left it up to the individual states and not as a federal authority. But that doesn't make it a secular nation. They literally let each state determine whatever state religion they wanted to. And inside of that state, it was highly enforced. How can you say we have a secular nation where individual states can say Catholics can't come here? Can you explain that to me?
Did we have states where Catholics weren't allowed to come there? Well, clearly we corrected. And also, it wasn't our nation. It was
clearly we corrected. So I'm sorry. Did the First Amendment and 10th Amendment change last time I looked? Because it didn't. The thing is that no, it wasn't founded as a secular nation. No, there were states that had their own independent religions. And yes, they could bar and make law based on those religions. How the could that be a secular state?
The amendment enforces equal protection onto the Establishment Clause of the First Amendment. It is.
Here's what the actual 10th Amendment states. It states that the power is not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the states, or reserved to the states respectively or to the people. So breaking that down, the phrase power is not delegated simply means anything the Constitution doesn't hand over to the feds, like Congress, the president, or the federal courts. No, and then also next phrase, nor prohibited to the states. That simply means the Constitution does block states from doing some things like making treaties with foreign countries or printing their own money, and then reserved to the states or to the people. What it means, whatever left over stays with the state governments who can handle it as they see fit with individual citizens. Okay, so this definitely doesn't necessarily, that actually does include religion and stuff. So yeah, I'm not sure where she's getting this kind of information from. Honestly, I don't know where, but it seems to me like it's a perception issue that they are having at this time. Okay. And as they always have, but the 10th Amendment doesn't directly mention religion, but it's more about the general division of power between the federal government and the states or the people. But it does play a big role in how religion was handled in the U.S. itself, especially early on. Okay, so religion can fit in with the federal limits on religion, where they can't impede these, they can't, change or remove the rights from these states. And there's also states' freedom under the 10th Amendment, where since the Constitution doesn't hand religion over to the feds beyond those First Amendment rules, the 10th Amendment itself lets the states decide their own religious practices. And religion was seen as a reserved power for the states and stuff. Okay. Now, there were changes over time with the 14th Amendment, where it talked about the Everson versus Board of Education and stuff as one example. But in short, the 10th Amendment originally gave states a lot of leeway on religion, treating it as a local issue. But though later amendments and Supreme Court rulings, federal protections kicked in to make sure the religious freedom and separation of church and state everywhere. Okay. So that's the problem right there. But they're talking about how it was founded and what it was founded on.
Outlawed constitutionally.
Read the 14th Amendment and give me the
14th Amendment?
read it. What year was the 14th Amendment ratified?
I don't remember.
1868.
Yeah, but man, the thing is that you are you are arguing about all this stuff,
1868.
and the thing is that I need you to understand. It's my understanding that you're a recent convert. I don't know if you were atheist before or what. Were you atheist? Were you raised with a religion? Did you go to church?
Yeah.
Okay, but you're a recent convert to Orthodox Christianity.
Yeah, so what?
No, there's nothing wrong with that. But the thing is that between different
It's not that recent anymore, by the way.
Historically, it well, I mean, you should know this. I mean, your ancestors were most likely Catholics fleeing persecution from Protestants.
No,
and that's why they came to
it
the
would
US,
be the other way
essentially.
around. It would be Protestants fleeing persecution from Anglicans.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
My bad. Most
Definitely not
Irish
going to
or
be
Catholics.
Catholics fleeing Protestants, because it would be Protestants fleeing from Anglican. But anyway, go ahead.
Okay, my bad. It may as well have been a different religion. It may as well, Catholicism to the Protestant may as well have been Islam. So it does matter that our nation had a separation of church and state,
But it didn't,
and was
though.
secular.
Yeah, but it didn't.
But it did.
But it didn't.
But it absolutely did.
But I demonstrated to you multiple
absolutely did.
times it didn't. All you have been able to do is give post hoc justification. After the Constitution was ratified, we already had states that had state religions, and you claimed that they could make laws and discriminate based on those state religions, and that was perfectly acceptable, but somehow this was a secular nation. That literally makes no sense. That's like me saying, my nation is secular, but all the people who live in it are religious, and each state has their own religion and bars people who aren't part of that religion.
What was our federal religion? What was the federal religion?
There doesn't need to be a federal
United
religion.
States.
That
Then
was a
there's none.
perspective
There's
right
none.
given
It's
to
a
the states.
secular nation.
No,
It's
the
secular.
federal, listen, you dimwit. The Constitution of the United States was designed specifically to say what the federal government could not do. Or, I'm sorry, what they could do, not what they could not do. They were not allowed to make any type of prescriptive claim on religion at the federal level as a compromise to the states. The states were. And you can't say you have a secular nation if each one of your states can ratify its own religion, make it the state religion, and then bar people from entry based on that state religion. That's the opposite of a secular state.
So the federal government not being able to enforce spiritual matters or religious matters in the states, you think that is not secular?
All it does is pass the buck to the states to enforce those things, which they did, and they enforced their religion.
And to choose which religion they would
So
like
it's
to have
not
as
a
their state religion or
secular
to not have
nation.
one.
Okay, so let me get this
what
right.
I'm saying is that were the states,
Hold
did they all
on.
choose the
You
same
guys are
denomination?
Listen,
Did
this
they
is the
pick
most
the
insane
same
ever.
nation?
Pardon me for
Did
just
they
a
pick the
moment.
same
Here,
denomination?
I'm gonna
Mike-
close my eyes. I'm gonna close my eyes.
Mics are popping out because you're talking.
I am going to create my perfect secular nation. What does that look like, Andrew? It means that I'm not going to make any prescriptions about religion, but I'm going to let each individual province inside of my nation do that, and they can totally discriminate based on their religions because this is a secular nation. Does that sound right to you, or does that sound, I don't know?
Oh, I mean, that's the definition of a secular nation. They gave states the decision. They allowed states.
That's what a secular nation is to you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, then, if all
the United States gave
it's a secular nation. So a secular nation to you is I can create in my state the Orthodox religion and then discriminate based upon it. That's a secular nation to you, right?
Yeah, the federal government can't stop you from doing that.
Great. So you have no problem with individual states creating an Orthodox only, no allowed, make prescriptions based on their religion in their state, right? No issues with that because it's a secular nation.
I don't think we're allowed to do that anymore.
Yeah, but here's the thing.
However, again, like what I'm saying is that yes, the federal government was founded on secularism.
No, it wasn't. It was founded by deists.
You alone. They have to let you stop worship. They can't stop you from.
Which of our founders were secularists, do you think?
They were all personally Christian.
Okay, so I'm sorry. This is super weird to me. We were founded as a secular nation where each one of the states had their own religion, which was ratified and recognized by the federal government, and they could discriminate based on the policies of that religion in the province of that state, and that to you is a secular nation. So right now, if it was the case that we had a nation where you had states inside of it that were all Orthodox and discriminated based on the orthodoxy, that to you is a secular nation, right?
Yes, if the federal government is not enforcing a specific religion.
Great, then I want more secular nations. I want more. I want as many secular nations as we can get.
Two provisions concerning religion: the Establishment Clause and the Free Exercise Clause. Government clause prohibits the government from establishing religion.
They can't establish it, correct.
Historically, it meant prohibiting state-sponsored churches such as the Church of England.
Right. So the whole nation couldn't have the Church of England.
What constitutes an establishment of religion is often governed under the three-part test set forth by the U.S. Supreme Court in Lemon versus Kurtzman. Under the Lemon test, government can assist religion only if 1, the primary purpose of the assistance is secular, the assistance must neither promote nor inhibit religion, and 3, there is no excessive entanglement between church and state. So again, I do not believe that we can establish state religions, even if the original colonies had them and the first states.
So, but we're not arguing. Hang on, we're not arguing right now if you can or can't in modernity establish religions inside the states. That's a totally different claim than this. Andrew, we were established as a secular nation. And what made us a secular nation was that the federal government couldn't make a national religion, but rather each state could make their own religion and then discriminate and do what they wanted based on their religious practices and beliefs, including not letting you hold office if you weren't a part of that religion.
She's never going to get this. The people on the left are not going to get this. She admitted before that, she's communist and stuff. On one of her Twitch streams that she admitted she's communist. So it doesn't matter what Andrew Wilson actually says to her. I mean, she's not going to get it. She's not going to accept it. Andrew Wilson gave her facts and stuff, asked her questions, by the way, to get her to think about these things. Yet she can't really, she gave Andrew Wilson answers, but at the same time, they weren't really, credible answers to help her have a leg to stand on. Okay, so let me know what you think about what Andrew Wilson stated in this. Do you think Andrew Wilson won this debate, or do you think that he doesn't know what he's talking about? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you on the next one. Until then, peace.